Hello students, today in this video we are going to discuss some of the most important idioms for competitive exams. Idioms is a topic that you can easily remember. So having a good understanding of the idioms can help you gain better marks in the exams. Besides the people who are preparing for competitive exams, this video is relevant for everyone who is willing to improve their English language proficiency. Now, let's have a brief overview of the idioms that we are going to discuss in this video. The first idiom is barrel of laugh, which means someone who is very funny. This idiom can be used to describe either a person or a situation. You will get a better understanding of this idiom when you understand how this idiom can be used in a sentence, which I will be discussing in the latter part of this video. Coming to the next idiom, old as the hills, which means someone or something which is very old. This idiom can be used to describe a person or thing which is very old. Coming to the third idiom, in the doghouse, which means to have someone unhappy with you. If someone is angry with you for something that you have done, you can say that I'm in the doghouse. Coming to the next idiom, up for grabs, which means available for anyone. If something is for sale and if anyone can buy that thing, you can say that that thing is up for grabs. And coming to the next idiom, split hairs, which means to argue or worry about small details. If someone is either worrying or arguing about irrelevant things, the idiom split hairs can be used to describe that instance. Coming to the last idiom, which is round the bend, which means crazy or insane. This idiom can be used in two instances. First one is the literary one, which means taking a turn at the end of the road, which literally means round the bend. And the second meaning, which is not literal, is driving someone crazy or insane. Now let's see how these idioms can be used in sentences. Now let's look at the first idiom, which is a barrel of laughs. Some of the examples of which this idiom can be used in a sentence are: it was a never-ending barrel of laughs and good times. Here, the person is speaking about a time when he or she was very happy. So to describe that instance, they are saying that it was a never-ending barrel of laughs and good times. Coming to the next example, you mean to say that barrel of laughs over there is my new partner. Here, the person is questioning the other person. What is he asking? He is asking that whether that funny person over there is my new partner. Let's come to the third example. You should see this movie I just got. It's a real barrel of laughs. Here, one person is saying to another person that he must watch this movie, which was very funny. As this movie made him laugh, he called this movie a barrel of laughs. Now let's come to the next idiom, which is old as the hills, which, as I have said earlier, is used to describe someone or something which is very old. So let's see how this idiom can be used in a sentence. Coming to the first example, that story is as old as the hills, which means that this particular story is very old. So to convey that meaning, they are saying that that story is as old as the hills. Coming to the next example, this dress is as old as the hills, which means that this particular dress about which that person is talking is very old. Let's look at the next example. Many of the tribe's customs and rituals are as old as the hills. Here what they are saying is that this particular tribe's customs and rituals are very old. So in order to convey that meaning, they are using the idiom as old as the hills. Coming to the next example, mortgage scams were as old as the hills, which means that These particular mortgage scams are happening from a long time. So in order to express this meaning, they are saying that mortgage scams were as old as the hills. Now let's look at the next idiom, which is in the doghouse. As I have said earlier, in the doghouse means this idiom can be used when someone is in trouble. Let's see the examples of how this idiom can be used in a sentence. Coming to the first example, her husband was in the doghouse for leaving her to cope on her own. Here, there was a husband and a wife, and the husband has left the wife in some trouble to deal with it on her own. So obviously the wife will get angry on the husband. So in order to express the situation, they are using the idiom in the doghouse. Coming to the next example, I'm in the doghouse. I broke Sarah's favorite vase this morning. Here, the person is saying that he had broken a vase belonging to Sarah, and this particular vase is her favorite one. It is obvious that you will get angry when someone broke your favorite thing, right? So, he's saying that I am in trouble as I have broken Sarah's favorite vase. So, in order to express this meaning, he's saying that I am in the doghouse. So, let's look at the next example. It seems the mouse is in the doghouse. Many of you are aware that people set traps for mouse in their houses. What happens if your mouse gets caught in that trap? The mouse will obviously be in trouble. So, in order to express this meaning, they are saying that it seems the mouse is in the doghouse. Coming to the next example, William Floyd was in the doghouse. Here, they are saying that a person named William Floyd was in trouble. In order to express that meaning, they are using the idiom in the doghouse. So, let's look at the next example. I am in the doghouse for forgetting Valentine's Day. Here, this person is saying that he or she is in trouble for forgetting Valentine's Day. So in order to express that meaning, they are using the idiom in the doghouse. So I hope now you got a fairly clear understanding on how to use the idiom in the doghouse. Now let's look at the next idiom, which is up for grabs. The idiom up for grabs can be used when something is put on sale and it is available for anyone to buy. Now let's see how this idiom can be used in sentences. The first example is, there are 50 tickets up for grabs, which means there are 50 tickets up for sale. Coming to the next example, the job is up for grabs. Why don't you apply now? Here, a person is asking another person that as this job is open for application, why are you not applying for it? Now, let's come to the next example. There are hundreds of prizes up for grabs in our competition. Here they are saying that there are hundreds of prizes that are being offered in their competition. Let's look at the next example. There are 25,000 euros worth of prizes up for grabs in our competition. Here they are saying that 25,000 euros worth of prizes are made available in their competition. Now let's look at the fifth example. The famous Ritz Hotel is up for grabs for 100 million euros. Here what they are saying is that the famous Ritz Hotel has been put on sale for 100 million euros. Now let's look at the next idiom, which is split hairs. As I have said earlier, the idiom split hairs means to worry or argue about small things. That is things which are of no consequence. Now let's see how this idiom can be used in sentences. Coming to the first example, don't split hairs. You know what I'm getting it. Here, the person who is speaking is saying that don't talk about small and irrelevant things. You know what I'm speaking about. Coming to the next example, I cannot split hairs on that burning query. Here the person is saying that I cannot think about the small and irrelevant details of that burning query. Coming to the next example, I found it dull to split hairs over the privacy of a person who counted on one's card. And the next example is, but I don't want to split hairs. Coming to the last and next example, scholars nowadays just split hairs. They never address the basics, which means that the scholars in the present days are talking about irrelevant things instead of addressing the basics. Now let's look at the next idiom, which is drive someone around the bend. Here, this idiom can be used in two instances. The first one is in a literal sense, which means to reach the end of your road or your path and to take a turn and disappear. And the second instance is to drive someone crazy. Now coming to the first example, the car disappeared round the bend in the road. Here in this instance, they are using this idiom in a literal sense. They are saying that the car has reached the end of the path and had taken a turn and disappeared. Now let's look at the next example. My mother's been driving me round the bend. Here in this instance, they are not using this idiom in a literal sense. They are saying that this person's mother has been driving him crazy. Now let's look at the third example. The runners accelerated smoothly round the bend. Here they are saying that the runners has increased their running speed at the turning in the track. In this instance, they are using this idiom in a literal sense. Now let's look at the next example. As they came round the bend, several riders bit the dust. Coming to the next example, the bus came round the bend too fast. In these last two examples, they have used the idiom drive someone around the bend in a literal sense.